Okay, so this is the website for my thesis. Um, the topic that I'm studying for my thesis is female entrepreneurs, businesswomen, and influencers on social media and how they use social media so successfully. So I originally started my thesis with a kind of a general and broad idea, talking about how I wanted to monitor the way that female-run brands and organizations and different types of accounts just operate on social media. I wanted to look at how they posted, what their post schedule was like, what their interaction was like, and everything like that. And it started off pretty well. I think it was going successfully, but then the more that I tracked, the more that I realized that my topic was too broad and that every brand had something that worked for them, but I didn't know if that was too much to report on. So, given with all the things going on in our nation and our world today, with our pandemic, with our current civil and social justice reforms and issues that are going on, as well as our recent election, I was realizing that a lot of the content that the brands that I was following were posting was about these issues. And by posting about these and having a voice and sharing their opinions, it actually made their brand more unique and gained, from what I saw, more followers and more engagements. So that's what I decided to focus on ultimately. So, like I said earlier, I kind of shifted my idea from originally just like overall trends to how they kind of navigate their brand through times of current events and current issues. But at the same time, I still will be showing that overall theme of like what brands do well, just in terms of average and regular posting too. So the way that I kind of altered this project even more was instead of doing a research type paper case study thing like I planned on, I decided that it would make more sense to make a website of kind of a how to for teaching up and coming entrepreneurs, businesswomen, influencers on social media, specifically Instagram, how they can take tips from what I've noticed and what I've seen as successful and unsuccessful, and eventually share that to their brand if they are looking to kind of build a name for themselves or start their own brand and use Instagram as a way to digitally market their platform. So the research, there was many parts to the research, and that started with a literature review and competitive analysis. In this, I looked at different articles that shed light on women's views on social media, how women use social media, how social media in the workplace affects women, things like that. And I just gained some general insight on how, in the past and a little bit today, social media can be seen as hostile and a little bit damaging to our mental health. But the more and more that we use social media for good and for more than just like posting pictures of yourself, we see that it's now working to foster relationships and foster relationships in the workplace, especially. So the research that I did for to start off this project was a lot of interviews and surveys. So I did a first round of interviews with two college students who were very passionate about social media and had college majors relating to what I've been studying throughout this thesis. So it started with Brooke, who was a Stratcom and fashion double major, and she's done plenty of internships with working with social media and developing social media for brands. And then Sophia is a business and fashion major, and she has done a lot of digital marketing, digital branding in her business degree, and shared a lot of insight on what her thought is on social media. Main takeaways from these two were how social media now is changing more than ever to something where you can, as I said earlier, personally brand yourself. Even if you're just a random individual using Instagram for fun, you can see that person's brand through what they post, what they like, what they comment, and things like that. Taking this information, we can see that it's so imperative for brands to have the same mindset and to adapt these thoughts when creating their brands as well. So I then created two surveys. The first survey was very general. So I sent out to 100 students, got almost 100 responses. And it just asked about basic social media usage, about hours, days, what kind of posts they like, what kind of accounts they follow, stuff like that. And some of the major takeaways is that just this generation, the people who answered my survey are very, very active on social media, and they may not realize how much it affects their life. Second survey that I conducted was more of a open-ended survey with some yes or no, true or false questions, and it asked about how users view different brands and influencers using their social media platforms to share their opinions and views on issues or events that are happening in our society. This was kind of the survey that kicked off the change that I wanted to make in my thesis, and these are just some of the answers that I thought were really interesting as well. So in my brand tracking, I chose to look at first 5 brands, but then I changed it to 4 brands that were more on slant with what I was doing towards the end of my project. So throughout the final product, you will see a little bit more in depth than what I have here of my overall findings, and then about findings on current issues. Throughout the past, I have been focusing on tracking their posts, their stories, their comments, their engagements every day of the week throughout the weekdays. And from this, I've been able to gather some decent data just about averaging likes, comments, engagements, and interactions as well. So here's what we have, just a little off the top of our heads from the 4 brands. In the final product, there will be a much more in-depth section that shares infographics, graphics, pictures, and examples of these posts as well. Then as I started to change more of my thesis to focus on these current issues, I really focused on the election, the current social justice movement on Black Lives Matter, and then COVID, and how brands are kind of adapting their brand to follow and support and help out in what they're doing. So you can see here that just for an example of this is We Were what they're doing throughout these different milestones in this year and how they are making changes. So the persona that I have for the final project is Stella Sidwell, and she is a up-and-coming entrepreneur in New York City. She is currently looking to launch her company Hippie Teas on social media, and she really wants to get her brand out there, and she wants it to kind of serve as a place for people to work on bettering their lifestyle and bettering their diet culture and their physical activity, as well as just fostering a place for people to come together and share experiences. She has a business degree. She's very, very versed in social media and has been working forever. Her goals are to use social media as the main form of marketing for her business, create a unique and distinctive voice for her brand, work hard, and create a strong community. Her main pain point is that she just doesn't want to come off as another brand, and she wants to adapt ideas from successful companies and campaigns that help her be more of a lifestyle and more of a following than just another tea that you buy at the store. So for the design of this project, these were my design tenets that I focused on at the beginning of the project, and then I kind of altered to make better and make work more for my final project. So like I said, I was originally going to do kind of a research paper, but the more that I studied and more research and insights that I gained from these brands, I decided that it would be more digital and modern to make kind of a website. So these are the wireframes I was going off of. I'm making it kind of a more blog style, fun, colorful, like website with different posts and shares that get you to want to read, but don't overwhelm the page as well. So the final product that I will be working on is Social Media Savvy, which is a website for female entrepreneurs. And this website basically compiles all the research, the surveys, the interviews, the brand tracking that I've done for this project, and shares here like key takeaways and what not to do and what to do when creating a brand. So there's about 5, I would say, sections of the website. And through this, I share just everything that I've discovered, and then I'm going to share more links and resources as well from where I got my studies, so that if a person wanted to start their brand, they could come here and take away key points that they never knew before. So to conclude this, I would say that changing my final product from a thesis style paper to a website was ultimately the best way to serve my persona. And once it's all completed and I have all of those interviews transcribed, I will be basically publishing a functional website for people to take away their the main points of creating a brand, especially on Instagram, but other social media platforms as well. I am currently working on that one of the final pages of just the experts, like I showed earlier in the slide, which is kind of what I took from the first round of replies from my peers, where I'm just sharing interviews and insights from parents who work in social media, or colleagues or peers that work in social media, or friends of friends that have worked in social media, or ones that honestly just started or don't have too much knowledge but no knowledge about different things in terms of business. And I think this section will be a great idea, and it will also offer like a page of contact so that if anyone on the website wants to know more, they can reach out to the people that I interviewed. So, yeah.